So this is me stepping into the Inland Port Authority's public meeting where they're letting people that they choose speak from the public. So selected public meeting. While we can all view their little board meeting, it has very limited public input, as you'll see. So I'll just start recording now.
A little bit so that the language we are using is reflecting the values not only noted in the WEPA website, but also the values of, I expect, a lot of your uh, political ideologies. None of those words reflect local control or smaller government. They all reflect big government with little to no accountability. And I'd like you all, before you vote, to look in the mirror and reflect on your own values, please, and how the words that you are using are how those match with your own values and your own integrity. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kelly. We will next hear from Malin Mensch. After Malin, we'll hear from Terry Durfee.
So as you can see, she didn't respond to his question or his comment. So it's not really feedback. It's just people get to talk. Next person, meeting over, it seems. But we'll see.
Business case for building the transloading facility in the inland port as a whole is that it could take marine containers inbound from California seaports and repack them into fewer, larger domestic containers. The board notes that this would avoid 1/3 of the truck trips needed to move the inbound freight off-site. The logistics trade press agrees that an importer could save money this way, but emphasizes that this saves money only under the right circumstances. Transloading and concentrating freight incurs extra costs and delay, but at the same time, it can reduce the cube element of line haul charges. The logistics literature says that consolidation costs can be offset by reduced line haul charges only where lower weight, higher cube freight is hauled more than 700 miles past the facility where it is consolidated. Freight inbound from California seaports that is offloaded and distributed in Salt Lake fails this test. If it is consolidated upon arrival in Salt Lake, none of it is carried beyond the point of consolidation, and therefore no line haul charges would be saved. Likewise, if freight inbound from California seaports is routed through Salt Lake on its way further east for distribution, it would save more money to concentrate that freight at a facility near the seaport rather than defer consolidation for 600 miles until the freight reaches Salt Lake. To maximize savings, an importer would use the consolidation facility nearest the seaport rather than the one in Salt Lake wherever possible. If I were considering buying these PID bonds, I would first want
to... That's time, Malin.
All right.
Thank you.
We've got the wonderful 2 minutes, which is fair, but still, no comment.
You have this.
Hello. My name is Terry Durfee, and I am a lifelong resident of Utah and specifically Twilla County. I very much object to the PID being created. This is absolutely unnecessary. The city could easily handle any operations and maintenance cost taxing. The only reason you want to do it is to further take public input out of the equation. The majority of the public doesn't even want the proposed inland port or proposed satellite.
I can turn it way down though, so that it's not so obnoxious for everyone. Yeah.
In addition, if additional rail was needed, they could propose it themselves. You seem to operate under this just trust us mantra, but you haven't done anything to garner our trust. It doesn't matter that you would have authority over the PID board because you continue to act against the public interest. So adding another layer is just a waste of time. I think that you should vote no for this, although I don't believe that you share what that's just my 2 cents. Thanks.
You tell them, Terry. Oh my gosh, wonderful. But we'll see if they have anything to say.
Katie, we'll hear from Sarah Buck.
And of course, no, they're right on to the next person.
Listening to your discussion of the PID, it sounds even worse than I imagined. The PID board has no direct public accountability. The PID board are policed by themselves. I would say the process is corrupt. If the bond defaults, would you write a check out of your own funds? I object to the creation of a public infrastructure district to provide funding for the sole benefit of the Port Authority and developers. As has often been said, if this is such a great idea, why didn't the private sector do it? The Port Authority doesn't seem to play by the same rules expected of other government entities. Some recent examples: acquiring public funds without a detailed description of how the money will be spent, refusing to accept a petition signed by concerned citizens. You've always made the public engagement process much more difficult than it should be, with limited opportunities for comment and strict hand-raising rules. Pursuing a project that's been challenged in court prior to the final ruling. Failure to post public questions. The way you posted topics and responses fails to show what the public's concerns are. Citizens have raised dozens of legitimate concerns about the entire inland port project, from increased traffic and air pollution to loss of habitat for wildlife and migrating birds. It would take well over 2 minutes to list them all. Something has to change. The things that make this place special are being sacrificed in the name of economic development. This project is designed to benefit the few at the expense of the many. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie. We will now hear from Sarah Buck. And due to the time constraints we have today, Sarah will be our last comment.
So that lady just totally blew through everything that Katie just said. Even though Katie had another 12 seconds, that lady could have used that time to respond in any way.
To put the bill forward should be of the utmost concern to all of you as it is to us as taxpayers. For this port to be viable, successful dry ports need large consumer markets with at least 10 million consumers, according to studies, within a 300-mile radius. Our current import market is barely 1/3 that size. Successful dry ports also need substantial export volumes, such as agricultural, mineral, or industrial products. I know you guys are really interested in coal, which nobody really wants right now, but other than coal, you really need to have a viable plan for your exports and your imports before you start taking taxpayer money and proposing all of this. I would like to second the idea that in addition to the lack of the financial feasibility of what you're asking us to pay for, the fact that no businesses have really jumped into this space should be a huge indicator to you that there's a problem. It's a huge problem, and you know that, and that's why you're now throwing more and more money into this. That's what this public infrastructure district is about. It's about throwing more money. And while we're at it, Mr. Hedge, you go around telling people you've conducted environmental impact studies, which is a bold-faced lie. It's time for you to come clean with the people of this state, because you are impeding on the development and the destruction to our Great Salt Lake. And one of the greatest revenue sources in Salt Lake is the Great Salt Lake. It's over $1 billion a year. So please consider all of this. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah.
You tell them, Sarah.
I'm back over to Chair Cottle.
Hey.
And Boo Tenisa Wright, she is definitely not a great moderator, I don't think. If she's at all involved with the inland port, she could be doing a much better job.
Robust public comment section on our website and frequently asked questions section where many of these items have been addressed, and I would encourage everyone to just take a look at that as they have time and the desire. With that, I'll turn us back to the consideration by the board of the resolutions. Let's start with resolution 2021-03, which is the creation of the Crossroads Public Infrastructure District.
Madam Chair.
To the board, yes, Ben.
I'd like to make a motion. I move to adopt resolution 2021-03, a resolution of the board. The governing authority of the Utah Inland Port Authority, Utah, providing for the creation of the UIPA Crossroads Public Infrastructure District, is a subsidiary of UIPA, authorizing and approving a governing document, appointing a board of trustees, authorizing other documents in connection therewith, and related matters.
Thank you.
So why is Ben or Nicole, why are they not addressing everything we just asked? Isn't that the point of them getting together again here?
Question to the motion. Jevin, I see your hand.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to propose a friendly amendment for the composition of the district board. I'd like to propose that the composition of the district board match the composition of the UIPA board. I think, we've talked a lot about transparency and the need to make sure that, all of the members here are creating the transparency necessary for this to be successful. And Jack and his team are doing some great work. I fully support, the board, but I think we need to maintain that transparency, and I think it's valuable for the entire board as we consider the projects to also be part of the district board.
Yes. Thank you, Jevin.
Speaker of the motion, would you like to accept that amendment?
Not yet. I think we want to go forward. I'd like to see this motion go forward, and if I may, Madam Chair, it's a very good. I agree with Jevin's thinking on this. Except for me, this is something I think that goes back a long time in Utah with how we've dealt with RDA policy. I think that the board has done a very thorough job in terms of explaining why we have the PID and why it's set up the way that it is. I know that it's not going to settle every question.
It doesn't seem to be settling questions for anyone, Ben, because Jack Hedge is not being transparent, and you guys still haven't spoken to that.
But at the same time, I think this is the right move for the district. Having people who are professionals and really understand where we're trying to go, to me, is critical.
So how is UIPA, Utah Inland Port Authority, not professionals that understand where we're trying to go?
Professionals, and I think the thought that's gone into how this board would be set up, there's some good reason it is set up the way it is. So for the time being, I think I'd keep the motion the way it is.
Very good. Other discussion to the motion as it stands, Mr. Jensen.
Thanks, Madam Chair. I'm supportive of the PID. I'm supportive of the financing resolution. I do agree with Jevin. I think, and Ben, you make good points. I think at the end of the day, things could come back to the full board. And I guess my biggest thing would be, this probably is the biggest thing that we've done as a board up till now. And I think having the full board be the board for the PID would add some transparency to the public. So
thank you.
Supportive of moving forward, I would just like the full board for this first one to be the board. So I agree with Jevin.
Yes. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you. Seeing no other comments, I will go to Tanisa for a roll call vote, please.
Representative Gibson.
I want the motion the way it was presented without any addition.
Francis Gibson.
Senator.
Yes, thank you. Oh, thank you. Let me just clarify. I'm sorry. That is the motion that's on the table for vote right now, as Mr. Hart set forth and seconded by Mr. Ogden.
So, Madam Chair,
Yep.
Was that a substitute motion that was made to change the board? And if
No.
it was, I think it was not.
No, sir.
Okay, then I would support Ben Hart's motion, or board member Hart's motion the way it was presented.
Very good. Sorry.
So let it be recorded that Francis Gibson has voted to not extend the PID to encompass all of the Utah Inland Port Authority, which is the more transparent option.
Okay, we'll come back. Ben Hart,
I vote in favor.
Commissioner Ogden,
I vote in favor of the motion.
Rachel Otto,
So Ben Hart and Gather have voted.
Michael Jensen,
I'm an aye.
Steve Prokopis,
I'm in favor.
And Steve is apparently
Derek
in favor.
Miller,
Aye.
Derek Miller says it
Dennis
should not be
Ferris.
transparent.
I'm afraid, lacking the clarity on the future board members and the distribution of the funds, I'm going to have to vote no on this.
Thank you, Dennis Ferris.
Jevin Gibb.
Aye.
I'm going to take it back to Senator Buxton one more time. You're there, Senator.
I don't understand why Jevin voted no.
If not, Chair Cottle.
Aye.
So that motion passes with a 8-member vote.
Okay, thank you. We'll now go on to the second resolution of the day.
Madam Chairperson.
Yes.
So was that 8-2-1? Was that the vote then?
Will you clarify?
8 yes, 8 yes, 2 no's, and 1 absent.
Yes, 8 yes, 2 no's, 1 absent. And it looked like, Senator Buxton, you were speaking, but you were on mute. If you could unmute yourself for us, or I can unmute.
I'm sorry, I thought that wasn't done. I'm an aye.
Oh, okay, perfect. So that is 9 ayes and 2 opposed.
Well, thanks for nothing,
thank
Mr.
you for
Buxton.
that clarification. Okay, on to resolution 2021-04. To the board for a motion.
Commissioner or Madam Chair, this is Commissioner Ogden. I would make a motion to accept the resolution 2021-04. Don't know if you want me to read that whole thing or not, but I think everybody's got it in front of them.
That's okay. And a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, Tanisa for a roll. Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. Comments to the motion?
May I suggest a friendly amendment that we wait until the resolution of the court case?
Yay! Thank you, Dennis.
To the maker of the motion, do you accept that friendly amendment? Board Member Ogden?
No, I would pursue to go with the resolution as presented.
For the record, Mr. Garth
Okay.
Tudor Ogden is
Any
not
other
willing to
comments
wait
from the
for the
board?
courts to make a decision on whether this is legal.
Okay, seeing none, we'll move to roll call vote. Tanisa?
Representative Gibson,
Yes.
Senator Buxton,
Yes.
Ben Hart,
Yes.
Commissioner Ogden,
Yes.
Rachel Otto, no, Michael Jensen,
Thanks, Rachel.
Yes.
Steve Prokopis,
Yes.
Derek Miller,
Aye.
Dennis Ferris,
No.
Jevin Gibb,
Aye.
Why?
Sure.
Aye, Jevin, come on now.
Aye.
that passes with a 9 approved and 2 opposed.
Hey, thank you. Seeing that there's no other board action for today, I would just pause to thank our staff, all of the many members of our staff that have worked so hard on this. I know that they've spent a lot of time helping us understand it and helping us make sure that we have the full understanding of the intricacies. And I know that can be a heavy lift. As you can see on our screen today, we have future board meetings scheduled for December, March, and June. And unless there are other comments from from the board, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Comment.
Yes, go ahead.
I'm going to be out of town on the 1st of December due to a conference in Albuquerque.
Okay, we'll note that. Thank you.
Move to dismiss. Move to adjourn.
Very good. Seeing no objection, we'll stand adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Okay, so it looks like everybody kind of disregarded Mr. Dennis for the most part, except for the lady board member. So nobody seems to care about what the public is saying on this matter. As you can see by the fact that they don't allow comments, you have 2 minutes. That's kind of understandable. It's a raised hand approach, and they only allotted I guess, what was it, 8 or 10 minutes for the public to speak during a hour and 15-minute long kind of public meeting. So very corrupt. And we have a congressman on the board. So definitely, or a representative. So definitely someone who we should be able to hold accountable for this. So hopefully we can continue to slow this down. But thanks for watching through that.